Hello guys, my name is Alexandra, and for today's video we are going to be discussing 5 ways to tell if a Virgo is into you. So we're going to be starting with Virgo for this because we are at the tail end of Virgo season. I will be doing all the signs though, so Libra will be next. And yes, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Virgos before we get into the 5 ways to tell if they're into you. So Virgos to me are a very interesting sign. They're very reclusive. Their tarot card that they're represented by is the Hermit. So that tells you anything about their personality. It's that they're generally pretty shy and to themselves. I have met one extroverted Virgo, and it is the weirdest enigma to me because the majority of Virgos that I know, like I said, are extremely reclusive and loners. So Virgos aren't really the most sociable people. They generally keep to themselves. They are ruled by Mercury, which is also the same planet that Gemini is ruled by. So I feel like they have a lot of the eccentric behavior and quirks that Gemini does, but they have it in a more earthy way since they're an earth sign, and they kind of, where Gemini is just like a very extroverted weirdo, I feel like Virgos are very introverted weirdos. Like, they're weirdos when you get to know them, but you don't know until you get to know them. It's because they keep themselves hidden, right? So, but they're really fun people once you get to know them. They have pros and cons like all signs, but I feel like this sign, when they are on a higher level, are actually really good people to have around you. I've dated one Virgo, and honestly, even though the relationship wasn't that long and it didn't end the best, he has been one of my favorite relationships that I had as far as just the way we connected. I've had good friends that are Virgos, and again, it's really weird. I have like good connections with Virgos. It doesn't necessarily end on the best of terms always, but I get along with them really well, and when I see their good traits, I see a lot of good in them. So let's go ahead and just, I guess, get started. So sign number 1 that a Virgo is into you is that they talk to you and that when they talk to you that they will get awkward around you. So the reason I say that if they talk to you is because, like I said, Virgo is a very introverted sign. Most Virgos I've known are not really gonna be the first to initiate conversation unless they're 100% sure that you want to talk to them. They have control issues. That's the big thing with Virgo. They tend to have control issues, not gonna lie. They're kind of, I don't know if it's like a fear of rejection as much as it's just like they want to be sure of things before they take action. They're very slow paced when it comes to stuff like that because, like I said, they want to be sure of it. So most Virgos, if they're not sure if you're into talking to them, they're probably not going to make the first move. But if they do talk to you, they tend to be very awkward. So, not hating on Virgos, I love Virgos, but just from personal experience with Virgos. Now, the reason why is because a lot of these signs, like I said, they're very to themselves, they're very shy. And a lot of this comes from the fact that they also struggle with like anxiety and overthinking, and it's really like, I think Virgos really get the shit into the stick when it comes to anxiety because they probably are the worst overthinkers of the zodiac. And I wouldn't say probably, I would say they are for sure the worst overthinkers of the zodiac, and they will overthink themselves into exhaustion, and trying to tell them not to do that is just pointless. It's like talking to a brick wall because they're just gonna continue to overthink themselves into like a bad mood or some anxiety or panic attacks or something like that. I've had multiple experiences with Virgos where they just continue to harp on things that they don't need to harp on, but that's beside the point. The thing is, a Virgo will have thought of every possible worst case scenario about coming forward and talking to you, and that's because, like I said, they're chronic overthinkers. So a Virgo generally keeps to themselves. They're pretty guarded. They're not pretty guarded, they're extremely guarded. To me, they're one of the most guarded signs of the zodiac as far as my interactions with them, just personally, friendship or relationship, like they're always extremely guarded. So for example, we'll go into story time. The Virgo I dated. We started talking after, because we met at a place we worked at together, but we never talked when we were working there. We didn't start talking until after I left. So he messaged me and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry I never talked to you when we worked together. He's like, if I don't know you, I don't like you. And that's like, should be a catchphrase for Virgos. That's how they look at people. They're generally not a fan of being around people. They don't care for people. They'd rather stay at home and hermit. They don't need to go out. Like, don't get me wrong, they like adventures, but they're not trying to go out and be around people all the time. They don't really care about that. So if they talk to you, if they even step out of their comfort zone enough to reach out to you, that is a sign, because like I said, this is a sign that generally does not let people in. They're not really talkative, they're not extroverted, they're not the life of the party. They're gonna be like that loner hanging out in the background at the party. They're not gonna be the one that's just being crazy. They're not a Sagittarius or a Leo or something where they draw all the attention to them. So if they talk to you at all, that's a good sign. But also notice their body language. How are they acting when they talk to you? Because Virgos tend to get very nervous. Like I said, they deal with a lot of anxiety and things like that, and because they're so to themselves, once they do finally start to open up to you, they tend to you can just tell that they're like quiet and shy. I personally think it's cute. I also like awkward people, so I'm an awkward person. But definitely watch their body language. See if they are seeming like they're kind of like they're wanting to open up to you, but they're also kind of being quiet. So you can tell when someone's being nervous. So definitely look for that. Sign number 2 that a Virgo is interested in you is that they remember and do little things for you. So this is one of the reasons I love Virgos. Now, they're one of these signs where you can just say a small detail about you and a Virgo will remember it. Now, they're not like, us Cancers where we remember everything that's ever said. They're not gonna know everything you've ever said to them ever, but they will hold on to little details about you, especially if it's a small detail. So for example, the Virgo that I dated, we were talking before he came over and I told him that I was a clean freak and I was like, cleaning is a big thing for me, and cooking is the way into my heart, and blah blah blah. Like, it was said casually. It wasn't something where it was like this big huge conversation really, but he remembered. So the first time he came over and spent the night at my house, that next morning he cooked me breakfast and he washed my dishes. So I was like, holy crap. So this is the type of stuff that Virgos do. Like, that was a small thing, but he held on to that little detail and knew, if I do this, even though it's a small thing, it will mean a lot to this person, because this person has told me, even though it was in casual conversation, this is something that was important to them. Virgos are really good at picking up details. They, like I said, they won't pick up all details. Don't expect them to remember everything. They're not that type of sign, but if they really care about you, they're going to really pay attention to the things you say, and they're going to remember things that would really make you happy if they do them, and then they will do them. So, with that said, Virgos are a sign of service. So generally how Virgos express their feelings for people is it's action oriented. They're not really good at verbalizing their feelings. After dating one, I can tell you this for sure. They're not good at verbalizing their feelings, but they are good at showing you that they care about you, because to them that means more. For them to do something action oriented that tells you, I care about you, I did this because I have feelings for you, to them that's more important, and to them that's just their love language, which I personally think, like I said, is extremely adorable. I love that about Virgos. I love that they remember small things to make you happy. I think it's a really great trait to have, because it really is the little things that add up over time. So moving on to number 3, and this is a love-hate relationship thing with Virgos. If they like you, they will critique you and motivate you. So, let me just get into this one real quick. Virgos have a bad rep for being overly critical and sometimes overly honest. And it's understandable why they get this bad rep, because in a way they are. But the thing with Virgos coming from this perspective of critiquing you and just being brutally honest with you all the time, it's because they care about you. So what you gotta hope for in a Virgo is that they understand that their delivery of the way they critique you and the way they try to push you and motivate you is very important. Otherwise, you will end up with a Virgo who will just unload like 5 facts about you that they feel like need to be fixed, and it will blow your world up. So you gotta watch with Virgos, like, the reason they tell you these things is because they care about you, and because, again, they're detail oriented. They see small things that can be worked on and fixed, and they're natural problem solvers. This is like a big thing with Virgos. Their mind is very analytical. It's very logical. They like to figure things out and find solutions. You know, they're not the type to really want to make excuses about stuff normally. So if they care about you, they may nitpick you. And if they're not the best at understanding when it's okay to do that and when it's not, they may nitpick you to death. Or, like I said, they may just randomly throw a bunch of stuff on you at once and be like, it's because I care about you. And that can get annoying to people, and I understand why. But it is because they care about you. And they feel like honesty is a very important thing. You know, being honest and helping you figure out where you can improve is something, you know, that they ask for in return. They expect that out of their partner, so that's why they give it to people. But, you know, like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because not everyone has a tough enough skin to be continuously critiqued by a Virgo, because it gets a little extreme after a while, because they just, it can get a little redundant, because you're just like, is anything good? Is anything I do okay? And it's not, like I said, it's not that they're trying to make you feel bad about yourselves or anything like that. I guess, you know, maybe some lower vibing Virgos are doing it on purpose, but most, like I said, it's just because they care about you and because they see your potential, and they will push you. If they care about you, if they think that you could be doing better than what you are, they will push you because they care about you. They will motivate you. So like I said, in a good aspect, this is someone who's going to help bring out the best in you and help encourage you and motivate you to put your best foot forward in life. And they're going to help you realize things that can be improved and really, like I said, help you reach your highest potential. Low energy version of this, though, is that they're just very overly critical and they give you a really low self-esteem. So make sure your Virgo is not overly criticizing you to the point where it's like bad on you, because like I said, they don't necessarily mean to, but if they're not understanding of the way they're delivering their message, it will come across that way. But the thing I can tell you is, it seems like, you know, most Virgos, once you sit them down and you're like, hey, I understand the honesty thing, I understand you trying to tell me stuff that you think I need to learn, that's fine, just one at a time. Don't unload on me all at once, and be sensitive in your delivery. But, you know, they do listen. They do, like I said, they're problem solvers. They do want to fix things. So generally, if you sit them down and you're honest with them and you just explain to them, okay, I get where you're coming from, that's fine, just be sensitive with the way you tell me, then they'll try and be sensitive, because they do care about you. I mean, obviously, if they care about you, they don't want to hurt your feelings. They're just doing this because they feel like honesty is a very important thing, which it is. So moving on to number 4, they let you into their hermit time. And I had to do air quotations because, you know, they're represented by the hermit in the tarot. So this is really important because, like I said in the beginning, Virgos, my bad, Virgos are hermits. They like their alone time. They're generally pretty independent individuals. Like, I'm not saying that they don't crave connections and closeness and stuff, because they do, but they're used to being on their own. They don't really need anyone. They do kind of have this mentality of, you know, I'll just do it myself. I'll just do things myself. I'll just be on my own by myself. You know, I get things done. I don't got to depend on anyone. They don't like depending on people. They're very independent. So if they start letting you into like their alone time or like spending a lot of time with you, that is a really big sign that a Virgo is probably into you, because like I said, these are people that require a lot of seclusion and a lot of alone time. They need to recharge. You know, a lot of times these people are introverts, so obviously extended periods of social interaction is going to just drain them. They are not the type to really like to have super huge groups of people around them all the time. They don't really like people, to be honest with you. Any Virgo I've known has not been a fan of people. Like I said, the quote that the Virgo I dated said, "If I don't know you, I don't like you." That's pretty stereotypical for Virgos. So if you notice that they're hanging out with you a lot, if they're spending a lot of time with you, if they're spending a lot of time talking to you, that's a good sign, because like I said, these are people that they don't mind being on their own. So if they really start letting you into their life and start kind of incorporating you into their, even just like their reclusive time, that's definitely a big sign that they have interest in you and see you being a part of their life, because they're not just gonna let anyone come into their world. They are pretty guarded people. They don't they don't trust easily either. So moving on to number 5, all right, they open up to you about their feelings. Now, obviously this should be a given, right? If someone tells you about their feelings, then obviously they care about you. But this is a really big thing for Virgo, because like I said on number 3, no, 2, I had to look at my list. Like I told you on number 2, they're very action oriented. So the way they show their emotions is by doing things for you. They do acts of service. They are like the helpers of the zodiac. That's just what they know to do. But expressing their emotions does not come easily to these individuals, because they just, I think a lot of it is that they overthink, you know, expressing their emotions, and they think of, you know, everything that could go wrong. This generally tends to be a sign that also struggles with being like a cynic, because they overthink so much that they're like, this cannot go anywhere good. It has to go this way because I've thought out every possible scenario where this could go wrong. So this makes them really guarded. It makes it hard for them to open up. You know, this is actually an extremely emotional sign. All earth signs are extremely emotional, but all earth signs do tend to struggle with being open about their emotions, because, you know, it just doesn't come easy to earth signs. You know, if you're not a water sign where you just spill your emotions all over the place, like some of us, it's harder to be open and be vulnerable, and I feel like it's safe, especially if you have anxiety, if you're an overthinker. It's just something, like I said, it's more difficult for Virgos. So if they really start to open up to you about how they're feeling about you and like get emotional with you and start showing like this vulnerability towards you, that is definitely a big sign that a Virgo sees potential with you, because like I said, even friendships that I've had with Virgos, it's taken a long time for them to get mushy or like sappy or like emotional with me, because they're always so like, they have like this guard up where they just don't express their emotions. And like even one of my really close friends that was a Virgo, like I would just be super sappy with her all the time, because I'm a Cancer, so I can't help it. It comes naturally. And she would just be like, it took her a long time before she would actually be sappy back with me. And even sometimes, like, I would try to be emotional with her, and she'd just be like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm good. So it's, once they really start getting open about their feelings, of being more vulnerable, being more soft with you, that's a big indication, because like I said, this is a sign that has a lot of rough edges. They have a lot of guards up. They have a lot of barriers. They have to really trust you to start letting them down. So that is what I have for you guys today. I hope that gives you a little more information about Virgos. They are a fun sign to date. I would totally recommend them if you are also a hermiting homebody sign. If you're like a fire sign or an air sign, I don't know if a Virgo would be for you, because they're not, like I said, they're not really outgoing. But if you like having someone who sometimes will go on adventures with you, but most of the time probably sit at home and hermit with you and like hate people and just do little things for you, like they're a great sign to date. Even though my experience with one wasn't a very long experience, I do feel like he was a really great person, and when he gets into a healthy place, he's going to be a really great boyfriend to someone. So I definitely would recommend dating them, at least if you are a water sign or an earth sign. Don't know about fire or air, because like I said, I don't really think that would work, because they're different opposites of the spectrum, but you know, opposites attract, you never know. So thank you guys so much. You all have a great rest of the day, and thank you for tuning in. I will see you for my next video, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.